It's a bold move.
We don't need that.
I think we do.
Bold move, Cotton. All right, I'm gonna find the
Wait, I
stream.
can't tell if you're trolling.
No, it's literally live.
Oh, it's actually live.
Yeah, 20
Wow.
seconds in.
Did you figure out how to edit the title yet?
Nope.
No, it's in there somewhere. In a very obvious location. Welcome to our live show. And we're plugged in.
Look at us. Slack.
This is such a hot topic we have.
Which one?
Mamdani.
I will say
Or Freebird's
Zoran
post
is a
of, like-
sweet name.
Yeah.
Wish my name was
What's
Zoran.
that movie?
Nobody
Don't
mess-
mess with the Zoran.
Nobody
Zohan.
Yeah,
Zohan.
nobody- Don't
Yeah.
mess with the Zoran.
The mess with the Zoran.
Yeah. It's a pretty sweet name.
Okay,
Um,
we're good.
but like, Freeberg's post is funny.
Yeah, that's
It's just like, make this happen so
Wait,
that
on
everyone
camera
can
one?
learn.
Oh no.
But he's assuming that people
no.
learn.
I can adjust.
I guess there is always like a pendulum swing, you know?
Gonna learn
SF is
today.
kind of learning.
SF learned.
SF learned.
It's a process.
You gonna learn.
Everyone in SF is looking at New York like, oh my God.
Are we live?
Yeah.
What?
Apparently we're live.
Do you have no idea what you're in for?
Just settling into things, you know? Gradually.
Yeah.
Did you post in the
settling.
Discord?
I'm doing it
Oh,
now.
wow. Thanks, Dad.
Yeah.
God, my cameras are all messed up. What did I do?
It's very funny when you just call everybody Dad.
Like NATO daddy.
I saw that.
The NATO chief called Trump daddy.
You got everyone to pay up.
Where did my
Yeah.
tabs
You
go?
got everyone
Except for
except
Spain. Yeah, Spain.
Spain.
But they'll pay eventually. They'll pay through trade.
They'll pay.
Hey, man, they still have like
Oh,
really
they'll
cheap
pay.
wine and food. Maybe that's why.
Which
Let
one
them.
of you killed the tabs?
The tabs? The computer tabs?
No, I
Yeah.
reset the computer.
No, you didn't.
I did
No, you did not.
Did you reset the whole computer?
both. That's a part of my process.
The tabs are in the computer.
What's going on, boys?
Guys, I feel like, can we take it a little more seriously that like, this is the time we actually get to see each other and hang out?
This is the only time I hang out
This
with
is the
anyone.
only time. Same, dude. This is the only time.
Up.
Like, it has
Sorry.
become, this is very important.
Well,
for me.
Armand and I sit like 15 feet away from each other, and we see each other zero
Yeah, like,
seconds
this is
out of the day.
literally when I see Nick.
Yeah. Actually, I saw you passing each other in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Why
Just
is
kind of
my-
like a,
Yeah. So
Stop
Hey,
it,
brother.
phone. Hey. What's
That's
up,
about
Dan?
it.
What's up, Alan?
what are you
people popping
doing
in the live.
Yeah, you were hunkered down today.
every day.
You didn't even breathe.
Gotta
Just
hunker.
walked in. He's just doing pull-ups. I think he just does pull-ups in his office all day. I still can't believe you have just like a full gym rack just in your office.
I know, it's pretty awesome.
Short Stick says, "What's up from NYC?" Short Stick, are you a Mamdani supporter or not?
Great question.
Ooh, NYC.
Is there like a fun name for Mamdani
Czar
supporters?
Mamdani. I don't know.
Like
Like a nickname?
Mamdanians.
Has to inject like socialism or communism into it somehow.
Comrade.
nah,
Comrade?
That's not,
Well,
no,
that's
not funny.
commonplace.
Okay, okay, sorry.
That was lame.
That was a bad joke.
Momcom. Yeah, we'll work on
What's
it.
his first name?
Zoran.
Zoran.
That's the best
It's
part.
already sick.
Zoran. It has an H in it.
Oh.
Zoran.
Zoranites? No.
So
it's
he's
terrible.
he's Ugandan. His family's from Uganda.
I know, it's very confusing.
Yeah, I guess like people that have left India immigrated to Africa, but he's of Indian descent. Ugandan.
Whoa.
An Indian Ugandan American.
Cool.
Pretty cool.
Uganda get some socialism.
Good one.
I'll let you have that one.
Sorry.
I'll allow it.
Showed a
I
lot of
had
grace
I had,
there, Nick, after
I had a few drinks at lunch before I even came here, so I actually fell asleep before the pod, just
What
on
are
my
we-
couch.
What are you sipping on? You're sipping on it in a unique way. Yeah.
Wait, is this Western grip?
Semi-Western.
There's a channel on YouTube that I watch every once in a while, purely for the entertainment. It's this old British guy that just teaches etiquette. I swear to God, it's like the most entertaining thing. But then every once in a while, you walk away with these great tips. Like, you know, when there's like cheese out on a table,
Sure.
you go to a party, and he has this moment where he just loses his shit, where he's like, the people that walk up to the block of cheese and just cut right through it, he's like, that is the most blasphemous thing you can possibly do. You
Well, like through the
always
middle?
shave the top.
The top of the
Shave the
cheese?
top?
Shave the top.
Wait, I was shaving like the sides.
Ah, he's a top shaver.
Wait,
And
why
he
do you
teaches
shave the
how.
top?
That's how you eat cheese.
Hold on,
apparently.
there's two different tools.
Wait,
And
but why?
There's a whole channel dedicated
No,
to your
there's like
questions.
my Swedish brethren introduced me to a cheese slicer that you like
Yeah,
pull across.
that's
the
what I'm
top.
talking about.
But sometimes you just have like a butter knife essentially.
Yeah.
You can't just like do that.
No.
Wait, you're saying that's how
Unacceptable.
you slice the cheese?
That's how you should eat it.
Oh, you shave it across the top.
Shave it across the top with one of those, with a knife or with one of those cheese slicers.
Ew, that makes
Anything
sense.
else
Across the top.
is
And then it's just-
uncivilized.
and it's so
I
uncivilized.
thought that was
to
just a
him.
preparatory motion. for
Okay.
the vertical cut.
I don't know last time you guys ate soup, but when you eat soup, do you spoon away and then put it in your mouth, or spoon toward your mouth?
Toward always.
Steven?
Wait, for what?
For eating soup,
What is spoon away?
you spoon away.
No, what is that?
Wait, what?
So first of all,
The
I'm
spoon gets exposed to uncharted territory.
Wait,
Like,
when
there's
you,
nothing.
you spoon away.
Spoon away is the what the Englishman.
etiquette?
Yeah.
Wait, you
Spoon
spoon
away.
away?
first of all, I eat soup every day, and I've never spooned
That
away
is
once.
just.
Well, I'm sure I'm doing it wrong. 'cause
Mental
I'm American.
illness.
We do everything wrong when it comes to etiquette.
Soup maxi.
Yeah, I mean, we literally don't know how to hold a fork and
You're
knife
going
in this country.
farther away from your mouth just to come
Not that
back
far.
in.
It's just like I don't know.
What is
Why?
the point of that?
I don't know. I didn't look at any further. I'm just like,
I bet it's on this channel.
I think they're just fucking with us.
You seen the whiskey connoisseur snob guy? That channel?
I thought that was the guy you were talking about.
No, this is a whole guy that's just etiquette.
Dude,
Yeah.
these YouTube channels are amazing. Like,
Yeah.
I watch this guy who all he does, he's like a sommelier who just reviews Costco wine. It's like double niche, but it's so good. He just gets into all the wine and everything.
Yeah, yeah.
Dude, imagine that you're eating soup with like people who don't know that this is like a tradition, and you're just like spilling it all over.
but didn't do the
Yeah, I don't understand.
I don't even know.
the
Like,
highbrow class when they see it, they're like,
your wrist
game
doesn't even,
recognizes game.
Yeah.
doesn't even go that way. Like, the wrist goes this way. Like, what? That's.
Yeah.
I understand. I
How do you guys
empathize.
hold your wine glass?
Depends what you're drinking.
It depends, like, how.
If it's a
important
cold,
I-
if it's a
like,
cold glass of wine, then
By the
at the
stem?
stem.
If I want to be
it's a
very
red wine,
sophisticated, I
probably
hold
by
it
the glass.
by the bottom of the.
Yeah, but are you like latching onto it like this, or are you more like
Two
a
hands. Two hands.
No, even the stem is wrong. You just gotta hold the.
I hold
you
the
just gotta
bottom.
Hold the bottom.
That's what I do.
That's how you're
like
supposed to do it.
That's
oh
the
yeah,
super
just that's
snob
the
way.
super snob
Yeah,
way.
yeah,
Just
yeah.
you
Wait, so I
flip
just been
the-
gorilla hooking this thing.
You just
the whole
grab the
time.
bottom.
Yeah,
You've got a lot of control from the bottom.
So what about the
You can
guys who?
swish it,
I
you
feel like
can-
this is like a pretty masculine way to hold. You put the stem in between the fingers and you like hold
Yeah,
the bulb.
that's
No,
what
Say-
you
most
can't
people
hold
do.
the bulb. You can't
but
touch
it's
the
like
bulb.
cool looking.
That's what I'm saying. I'm judging you guys. I'm seeing who touches the.
No, touching the
Yeah.
bulb is
Yeah.
that's
because you
blasphemy.
change the temperature.
Yes.
But you know what I saw in
This man's
Ocean's
this man's drank
11?
wine and-
Ocean's 11.
France.
Brad Pitt was drinking wine like this with the stem through.
That's that's insane.
By the way, awesome character. I don't know if you guys noticed, but that character, he's eating the entire movie. In Ocean's 11, Brad Pitt, he's just constantly snacking. In every scene he's in, he's eating something. It's hilarious.
I had
I
not
haven't
noticed
seen
that.
that movie since it came
I
out.
feel like Brad Pitt's kind of underrated.
Well, we'll see with this Formula One movie. I'll let you know. He might get
Oh,
the
that's right, man. That was the longest cold open ever. 15-minute
Pretty
cold
hot to
open.
me.
Well, what are you guys drinking? Speaking of drinks,
Armand made some delicious.
We're
Old fashions?
drinking Eagle Rare Old Fashioned.
Why do yours taste better than the ones I make?
I think you have practice at home sometimes.
You know, it's all in the wrist.
Man can't dink.
Flick of the wrist.
He can't dink.
Two like ingredients, you know, like how
I know, but it's
different
like
could it taste?
scrambled eggs. Most people can't make them.
No,
Yeah.
scrambled eggs has like some technique involved.
This is the same. You know, this is like how bartenders. I talk to bartenders about this all the time. They're like, if you go to a place, like, you should order a simple drink to start to assess the bartender. And I'm always like, is old fashioned good? They're like, that's the perfect drink, or like a daiquiri. Like those two drinks are like perfect way to assess.
Like a
their
Hemingway
skill set.
daiquiri?
Yeah, those are so good. But no one knows how to make them.
I've never had that before. What is
Never had a Hemingway daiquiri.
Oh my god, that's how I decided to quit my job.
Is it like made of bourbon?
I drank Hemingway daiquiris in Cuba. And then I
Is
was
it made
like,
of rum?
never going back.
It's the most Armand thing you've ever said.
Wait, is it Hemingway?
I
drink?
drink
With Jason, we got drunk in the bar that Hemingway would get drunk at, drinking Hemingway daiquiris. And then I was like, Jason, I will now become an entrepreneur.
He was like, "Yeah, man, yeah."
I mean, that's kind of
exactly how it went down.
that's kind of like how I decided to quit being a professional poker player.
It's just in the moment. Yeah.
I was high on mushrooms on the beach at sunrise at the full moon party.
There you go.
In
The
Thailand?
sun- yeah,
Sick.
the sun came up with burn marks on
From
my
the rope?
rope. Yeah,
Yeah.
just bodies all around me.
Yeah.
Like, I have to go home and stop.
Yeah. This lifestyle is getting the best of me.
I quit a job and became an entrepreneur the same way.
Yeah.
Over dinner, drinks.
Did
And
you
it was
do
like,
it-
And it was the dinner. It was like, okay, we need to decide now.
Did you
Like,
reassess it sober? Or just you
yeah.
went with it?
I mean, I kind of assessed it leading up to it, but then it was like decision time, and we're like, okay, I'll let you know in about 2 hours. We're gonna go to dinner, and then came back and said,
We've talked about that, right? You guys
Yeah,
seen
yeah.
that meme, the
Drunk
Persian
first,
meme?
then sober.
Yeah. All big decisions would be deliberated, drunk, and sober.
Yeah.
And if it passed both tests, then it would like motion pass.
motion
Gavel,
passed.
gavel.
All right, well, let's give a shout out to our sponsor. Go to zbiotics.com/alfalfa. Get the pre-alcohol for 15% off when you use that code alfalfa at checkout. It's the pre-alcohol probiotic drink that is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic, invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking. When you drink, that alcohol gets turned into a nasty toxin.
Acetaldehyde.
Yeah,
It's nasty.
yeah, it is
I
nasty.
hate it.
Gives you all the symptoms we can't talk about.
Nasty chemical.
It's so nasty.
So it's that, not dehydration, that makes you feel like crap in the morning. And pre-alcohol produces an enzyme that breaks this byproduct down.
Thank God.
So before you have your first drink of the night, you take it about a few hours before. And I know 4th of July is coming up, my favorite holiday of the year.
That's such a good one.
And usually people have a few
What's your
cocktails.
holiday?
No, Thanksgiving. I was going to say November.
November's my favorite.
Man of leisure.
Hold on. Who's, someone I
Hold
know's
on.
favorite
Let's
holiday.
finish this up. So
Hey, let him cook.
for 4th of July, order yours now before the 4th comes. Use the code alfalfa at checkout to get 15% off. If you don't like it, they'll give you your money back. Thanks, guys. Thanks, ZBiotics, for sponsoring the pod.
Hell yeah.
The number of times we've interrupted Nick doing the ad read and he's had to somehow come back to it,
the
finish it
third
out, close it. I will say it makes for a hell of an ad read. You know, it's like way
You're like,
more organic than
doing the
just-
weave?
Yeah, weaving it. Gives them more time.
You're like, technically, we gave you a 17-minute sponsorship.
Yeah.
It's like those concert pianists that practice like getting fucked up in the middle of the performance, so that if it happens in the middle of the performance, they're fine.
Ooh.
That's so smart.
Yeah.
That is smart.
Practice until you can't get it wrong versus practicing until you can get it right.
That's actually a thing my piano teacher has told me.
Yeah. Heard it in professional speaking. Amateur speakers practice till they get it right the first time, and then professional speakers practice till they can't get it wrong. I like
Nick
that.
told me that when I first started speaking. That's some damn good advice.
It's deep.
Yeah. Is it Johnny? Is that the?
Yeah.
Well, we're all remixing. Someone got it. From
Yeah, someone else's advice, but yeah,
you know.
he the first time he made me do it, the first time I got it right, he's like, "Cool, now 25 more times." And I was like, "What do you mean? It's a 45-minute.
Until you.
It's a
just
45-minute
literally-
speech." He's like,
Yeah.
"Like, you're gonna sit there and complain, or are you gonna start now?" And he's like, and then he's like, "You got to visualize the place. You got to get nervous in your stomach,
Yeah.
and
So you just can't fuck up.
yeah, until you just can't fuck it up."
Yeah,
Great advice.
it is.
So you practiced the speech for 6 more hours?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Dude, Johnny was he was my mentor, and yeah, he was hardcore about that stuff. There was never any like, well, it's midnight, should we go home because the speech is at 8 a.m. tomorrow. It was just like
Well, where would Nick be without Johnny Chan?
I'm the same.
nowhere, dude. He
I'm the same way
and
with
he would
big
mark
stuff.
he would mark this, and I mean, this is how good of a mentor was. He stayed with me. Like, he would be there, and then he would just like, I'd fuck up. He'd be like, okay, mark it on the speech. I'd be like, okay, here, and he'd be like, all right, again, start over, and then fuck up, mark it.
So badass.
Yeah.
Damn. This guy was with you for 6 hours rehearsing the same speech.
The object of a leader is
To create more leaders.
Johnny Chan.
Oh man. All right. What do we got on the docket here? We have like some options.
Slight
Options. Like the options on SBET.
Ooh.
Hey,
All
now.
right, sorry, me and Eric were talking about it before.
Wait,
the
they're
pod.
live?
Yeah,
Because
baby.
it
got
feels like
options.
I bought an option. It's down so much.
Oh yeah, well I bought shares that are.
We're all down
so
a
much money.
substantial amount of money.
It's okay. Good thing it was a FOMO amount. It was a FOMO bag.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah.
But Eric got me pumped on it again before the pod. so
Cool.
I was excited.
No, I'm back in.
You
I'm working again. Feels
Oh
great.
yeah, you are working again.
Feels great.
So you got the terminal up. You got Schwab open. You got our interactive brokers.
Okay, I feel like this is like more important than just the SBET, but like before, maybe it was like 2 months ago, my daughter was born, and I was saying I'll probably never work again.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like now I've gotten the hang of having a daughter, and it's gotten quite monotonous.
Okay, so we have an update.
Yeah, it's like the same.
Feeling the itch?
Yeah, I feel like the things that I previously liked that I said I would never return to, I'm like returning to all of them, and I'm like the same guy that I was prior to having a daughter.
Good.
All right, cool.
I'm glad we
Welcome
closed the
back.
loop on that one.
Yeah,
I was worried about you for a bit.
I was working with myself.
I think you'll be a similar guy, but you're never the same again. Your brain is literally getting rewired after you have a kid. There is a drastic change you go through. It's a rewiring. I'm sure a
Yeah, maybe
neuroscientist would do a lot better job explaining it. I've came across a few videos that do elaborate in detail on like what actually happens to the father in particular. There is a change. But yeah, I had a feeling you'd eventually be like, okay, we found our new normal, and
Right.
now I need to think about these things again, and you're reintegrating.
Yeah,
It's kind of like you just took some LSD
I think it was like
and you're reintegrating.
having that child was like so novel that I needed to be like all hands on deck on that.
Yeah.
And now I got the hang of it, and I get it now. It's just kind of like I know what to do, and it's kind of like not as fun as it once was. Like it literally is
Well, it's just
feed,
work
burp,
now.
put to bed, repeat.
Armand, how long does that go
Grind.
for?
What?
That little like routine.
Well, they start
He's in month 2.
Yeah, like we're in month 3, getting to month 4. You know, she's like able to flip and able to move a little more. And once they're sitting up, it changes. Once they're sitting up and like interacting with you in like month 5, 6, it changes for sure.
Once your daughter sits up, you're like, all right, I'm back out. I'll never leave this baby
every
again.
stage.
It totally changes when they start walking. Like that's a huge shift when they start stumbling around the house and getting in trouble. And
Yeah.
I feel like the infant phase was a lot easier than the walking and toddler phase. A lot easier.
Good.
So
Eric just looked at me like, fuck.
I will say the jump from 1 to 2 is enormous, man. Enormous. It's like
Software upgrades?
no. Sorry, I mean 1 to 2 kids.
Oh, I thought you meant from age 1 to...
No, the
That too,
jump
thank you.
as a parent and responsibility and the chaos in the house is like, yeah. Erica was saying it the other day. She was like, "Man, I used to take this, think this was so hard to just have one because we went out with just Rumi and left Roy at home with her mom, and you know, she was just like, "This is so easy. Like,
It's a pleasure.
This is like such a breeze. Like it's a big difference having 2. Big difference."
Reinforcements are at home?
Yeah. I have
Nice.
some help right now,
Good.
thankfully. Yeah.
All right. So yeah, I didn't want to derail that whole SBET thing, but I do want to talk about SBET.
Okay, talk about it now.
Just smoothly transition back. No problem.
Sorry.
Toddlers, Ethereum treasury vehicles.
Okay, so you guys put me on this.
You once called it a shit show.
What?
Our show.
Oh, yeah, it is.
It works.
bit of a
Keep
shit
going.
show. You guys put me on this a couple of weeks ago or a month ago or whatever.
You're a little bit of a hater at first, I think.
Yeah, I'm always a bit of a hater.
That's fair. Everything is trash.
Yeah, but then I did buy it in size, well, in some size, and then immediately within 48 hours, lost me a lot of money.
And then you bought it lower, I assume.
Yeah, well, now I'm playing the options game, which is like the game that I prefer, and the options are pretty fun. Like one thing that I like about it is, you can like sell puts on it, and Joe Lubin bought in at $6.17.
So you know where to.
So like that, you can set that as your put level.
That was a fun fact. When you shared that fact with me, I felt so safe in my $9 buys.
Yeah, because we're at $9 now, 9 and change. I feel like if you're buying at the same level that Joe Lubin did, you probably feel.
What your
good
sheet
about
say is the annualized return on like those selling those puts.
It's got to be so high.
that. So if you're calculating it based off of like the margin
Yeah.
that you're putting up, it's 400%.
Okay.
Okay.
Juicy.
Yeah, but like on a covered basis, which is like your portfolio return, would be like 60%.
Oh, okay. So still very juicy.
Still good,
So the implied vol is very high on this thing.
Very
which,
high.
Which
Very
makes sense.
but I feel like it's still not even high enough because I just bought $12 calls for $3. So my break even is $15. And could it go above 15? Of course it could.
It sounds like free money when this goes to $500.
Could.
Don't tease.
Could.
How about some
You are not bullish enough.
how about some ETH just ETH A call options
Yeah.
today?
That's like the
ETH.
least sexy asset I've ever heard. It's like, yeah, I bought ETH A.
Yes, that's the ticker that has the
I
most
know, but it
liquidity.
just sounds so lame.
That's the
That's the
BlackRock.
lamest sounding ticker.
That's
I've
the
ever
BlackRock ETH,
Ether.
right?
Yeah.
ETH.
ETH.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like
Ether.
a slang.
Heard. Okay, when you
Ether.
say ETHA, it sounds kind of cool. Actually.
Yeah.
You should call it ETHA.
Brought it right back.
Yeah, we're back. I'm cool again.
ETHA.
So you bought the common or the calls?
I have the common and the calls.
Yeah, I feel like the calls on that are cool too, and like selling puts on Ether is pretty cool too.
But the expiry, I think the latest expiration date is December. So you're only getting like 6 months. I would prefer if I had more
Yeah,
time.
2027. That's what we all want.
Yeah, I'm worried about the theta decay like around September, October,
Yeah.
But hopefully we're so much higher then it doesn't matter.
You know what's crazy is that we put in an all-time high on the NASDAQ today,
Yeah.
and everybody just feels depressed.
Ignored it.
Yeah, I feel like everybody's
It's
sidelined.
so wild. It's like a wild time. It's a wild time. I'm so bullish stocks. I'm like pretty bullish crypto too, but like also, it's just like a painful asset class. The stocks are like easy mode.
Yeah, they go higher.
But it's crazy. It's crazy. I've never seen such a divergence.
Nick, you probably saw Citrini's post today on Twitter. He said something like, he's like, enjoy June because in July starts like all these macro headwinds, particularly like the 90-day
Tariffs.
tariff reprieve
Enjoy
or whatever.
June.
Yeah, because like,
Did you guys exist in June?
I guess like we're at the end of June.
It's not.
But I mean,
not
he is
enjoyable.
right. Like for us, our inventory that is getting tariffed is showing up now, and like starting. It'll start in July to get sold. So, we talked about tariffs in April.
Yeah, nobody cares anymore.
No, I don't think anyone really cares. But there will be some like I don't know, marginal effect on things because the inventory usually people hold like 3 months of inventory. So April, May, June. So if it is going to come, it's going to come in July, which means it'll show up in the August data, maybe the September data. But whatever, we'll deal with that when it comes.
Steven's nonplussed.
I'm happy if the market doesn't care about it at all.
I don't think the market cares about tariffs anymore.
They're just distracted by
It's just
war,
moved on.
nukes.
So then why the divergence?
Divergence.
What's your
the
assessment?
sentiment?
Yeah.
That's a good question,
You
actually.
just think it's a sign of the times? It's just everyone has just been so worn out in general.
So I think
so long.
50% of the population wants Trump to fail just because 50% of the population hates him. So I think with Trump, you have this weird thing where like half the populace is actually like very mentally anchored to stuff. They're like my dad. Like my dad gets mad when the stock market goes up.
Yeah, because that's a sign of Trump winning, and they don't want to see that.
Yeah, which is weird. But like I think that's literally how people are thinking. And then I think it's sort of like a byproduct of that. There's also like I think people are like not very positioned to the long side right now. And when you're not positioned to the long side, you are rooting for stuff to go down so that you can buy lower / be right. So I think people hate Trump and then are also not positioned. There's some overlap in the two things in like a Venn diagram. And we're at a very weird moment now where I think we're about to melt up and people are depressed.
Well, the uncertainty was very high, so I can understand people's like reluctance to be like fully allocated because it was like a hard time to just be like, yeah, fully deploy.
Yeah. I've reached this weird point in my life where being fully deployed means I'm like 2x levered, and when I'm just like 100% long, I just feel like I'm flat. So, like the other day, like Bitcoin was like pumping, and I was like, "Fuck." And I'm like 100% long, but like guys, like half my net worth is in Bitcoin, but I had no leverage on, and I was just like,
I'm missing it.
"Damn it!"
That's
like
so hardcore.
I've just moved the anchor point so much.
That explains a lot, folks. Explains a lot.
Yeah, it's just like really just shifted the. So, but I think that's like optimal in like the modern money printing world.
I agree.
As we're about to get like we're gonna go through the kind of Roaring '20s blow off thing. I think at some point in the
I hope
next
so.
6 to 48 months. I don't know how long that'll take. So I think in that paradigm, it's correct to just be always long and usually just levered long.
I feel like we could be very well on our way. Like the Fed might ease some banking regulations, which might get some liquidity and loans back in the market. This current Fed chair might decrease interest rates, but everyone's going to be looking forward to next year.
Fed chair, new Fed chair next year.
He's gonna
Fed chair, new us.
I think he
He's gonna
should
be a
should
dove.
nominate someone now and just put him on Fox News and CNBC every week
You,
and be like, I'm going to lower interest
you
rates.
should be
I'm going to lower
buying
interest rates."
everything right now on the basis of what am I going to sell for capital gains like a year from now when there's a dovish Fed chair pumping everything, and that's like probably the like 40 IQ way to approach it.
So like
right now.
midterms start up in November too. They gotta pump it.
Like
before
we're gonna
then.
be
Yeah.
probably peak pumping like a year from now. So like, although everything kind of sucks right now in crypto land still, except for Bitcoin, obviously. But like everywhere, I think you should just be buying stuff on the basis of like a year from now, I have a dovish Fed share and he's probably pumping stuff and I have cap gains, and that's probably TLDR.
When JPOW exits, I am gonna salute him. I feel like I love JPOW.
Too late, Jake?
A little
Too late.
Yeah, he's too late.
Too late,
He's-
Jay.
He's a slow mover, but I feel like he's a pragmatic guy, and he has the nation's
Yeah,
best.
why
interests at
did he
heart.
drop interest rates before the last election?
I just can't get over in 2020 him being like,
Sus.
we won't even thinking about increasing interest rates until 2024 and like 2021 or 2021. You know, and like
they're like,
inflation's just peaking.
Joe Biden's losing. Jacket. Print the money.
All right.
Right, move
let's-
us along, Nick.
Yeah, let's move along. So,
What are we
can I
talking
do
about?
a little quick follow up on last week's pod? I, in particular, wanted to hear, did you hear anything from family in Iran? Any updates?
Well, yeah, it's been an interesting week in general, right? I mean, I don't know if you guys want
12-day war. We've reached
to
peace.
war.
Can you pre-brand it before it's over? Just like, they shall now forth be called the 12-day war.
He does talk like that. I think the
you for-
greatest meme of this year has been "Thank you for your attention. Thank you for your
Thank
attention
you
to
for-
this
like,
matter."
what-
Thank you for your attention to this matter.
Someone
I
who's
mean,
been through
I-
so much
I
trauma
honestly
picked up a
spent
tick.
the last 2 days looking for opportunities to use it, like in my Slack messages and my emails. I've already dropped it multiple times.
Can you imagine if Erica was like, Armand, the dishwasher needs to be emptied. Thank you for your attention to this matter. You'd probably like laugh so hard.
Oh my god, funny story. But Erica was like, "All right, I don't read the news. I feel like I should know what's going on. Can you give me the
TLDR.
TLDR?" And anytime she asked me a question about anything like money, politics, life, like
you give
alfalfa
her-
related,
do you give her
I
the-
give her options.
You give her the Putin. You're like, well, in 1477.
That does sound like an Armand
That's one of the
TLDR.
options, which she's very aware that I can do that version. So, like, I go, "Do you want the short, medium, or TED Talk, version?" And every once in a while, she'll go like, "Yeah, give me the like fast-paced, like medium, or give me the smaller, give me
TED
the TED
Talk,
Talk, or whatever."
1.5x speed.
So I gave her, dude, it was actually like, I was impressed by myself. I gave her like, because it was wild. I gave her like 20 minutes of content at 2.5x speed in like literally like 6-7 minutes of like everything that I've been thinking about over the last like 2-3 months, and especially like the condensed version of what's been going on. And at the end, it was hilarious. It was just like, holy shit! Like,
Should've
there's a
recorded
lot
it.
in your mind.
Should've recorded it
And I
and
was
made it
like,
short.
no, because it was the definition of like, how many times a day is a man thinking about the Roman Empire? It was just like for her to see like the things that go on in my mind and how much I have to be up monitoring the situation. I mean, I've been up monitoring the situation every fucking night until like 11, 12, 1, like not sleeping. So anyway, it's been a couple of interesting weeks, right? Yeah, so I finally heard back from family as internet, was restored. And I, in particular, obviously I'm very close with my grandma. And, first thing I had left her some WhatsApp like voice messages.
Wait, are they in Tehran?
Yeah, almost all my family's in Tehran. That's in Iran. They're all in the capital. And, getting updates through my mom, but then I wanted some direct updates as well. So I had left my grandma obviously some messages like, I'm thinking about you, I'm worried about you, and she was alone. She was literally alone. Like some of the family left the city, some of the family stayed, and she lives alone. This is late 80s.
Damn.
Okay,
Respect.
Iranian woman. And she gets back to me and she's just like, she was like, yeah, I mean, all's good. I slept through it all. I didn't hear. Everyone keeps asking me, like, are you hearing the bombs? Are you scared? And she was like, I'm good. Like, it's nothing happened in our neighborhood, and I see it on the news. Like, I see it, and I'm keeping up with it, and all that stuff. And she's like, I'm not worried. Everyone's worried for me, and I'm like, my grandma just like way more of a gangster than I ever knew, or is this like normal, or what's going on here? So she's fine, thank God. Family's fine, thank God. And so I'm like, okay, there was some discussion we were having last week about like, and there's a whole discussion happening on Twitter about regime change, and Trump is like this erratic, back and forth schizophrenic. About 1 minute it's about no nukes. The next minute he's like, well, why not regime change? And then the world is like, should there be regime change? And people are throwing up polls on Twitter and then discussing the pros and cons of Reza Pahlavi coming back and, all this stuff, right? And I was like, let me just ask her, because I know for sure that amongst the Iranians that have left Iran, Reza, which is the son of the Shah, who was in power before the Ayatollah took over, is very popular in terms of the people want him to be a transitionary force to take over, right?
And bring in democracy. That's
Bring
like
in-
what that's
and
what
bring
he
in
wants.
a democratic system of some kind. Yeah, he's not. They don't want a king. That's not what they're saying, but they do really respect that monarchy that existed previously. And so I was like, and we touched on this a little bit last week, where it was like, maybe this is just the illusion of like Iranians who have left Iran think that that's the best solution. But what do Iranians internally really think? So I just said, hey, Grandma, like, what is the sentiment right now? And like, this is how we're feeling. This is what we're thinking. And she kind of laughed at me. She literally laughed at me. Like, she was almost insulted by my question. And this is, again, a woman in her late 80s, conservative. So she represents the people of Iran for sure, but like the least progressive version.
Okay.
So everything I'm telling you and I'm learning is like the least progressive version. This is an old lady, right? And she was just like, Armand, like, these people have taken everything from us. All the oil, all the gold, all the natural resources, all the money. We have some of the most beautiful women in the world. They beat them, they rape them, they kill them. They don't let the families retrieve the bodies. Anybody who dissents, dances in the street, sings music, gets killed, arrested, tortured. She was like, do we want them out? Do we want Reza Pahlavi? She's like, we'll take a fucking, like, anything. What do you mean? Are Iranians for wanting regime change? And she was honestly insulted. Like, she was like, this. Why are you even asking me this? I think I asked it because it's like, I saw these things on Twitter. It was like, maybe Iranians outside of America don't get it, and they just think that Reza coming back is the best thing. And she was like, listen, Armand, his grandfather is a hero in this country. The original Reza Shah is of great lineage, and we respect him greatly, and people praise the king. And then his son was the one that was quote unquote installed, right, later on. But again, it was his son, and she was like, he brought so much progress, so much international openness. Frank Sinatra performing in Tehran, the world completely reversed. We went back 1,000, 2,000 years. We were the most progressive country in the Middle East, becoming, the Shah had these goals to be one of the most, not just like progressive, but also one of the most successful countries in the world. All that went backwards. So she's like, yes, of course. The people are ready. We are waiting with bated breath, like, for this to happen. It needs to happen now. We want it to happen. We've been waiting a long, long time for this to happen. So I thought it was really eye-opening.
No, I completely. I think that is consensus, 80% consensus. At the risk of sounding callous, I just think it's like the wrong question to ask. I think the right question to ask is like, do you think that the regime is going to change to Pahlavi now? And I actually think that reaching peace in 12 days decreases the likelihood that we see a regime change.
Yeah, that's a whole
I
interesting
think, you're
discussion.
probably right? Because they have time to regroup, reestablish authority.
I feel like if they were to continue fighting, then
It'd be more
there'd be
likely.
like a
There'd be
regime change is
pressure,
happening. Yeah, but now that
uprising.
they've like created the peace, and now it's like, okay, so the regime just stays in.
Well, I don't know. I don't think that desire has gone away for the U.S. and Israel. I think there's still going to be some kind of initiative to make that happen.
I don't think the U.S.
to help make that happen.
I mean, you're both right. Like, they wouldn't have agreed to the thing. Like, they're optimizing for not regime change, which is why they agreed to the peace thing. So obviously, it decreases the likelihood of that. But then you're right as well. I think
there's another round of. This isn't over.
But this ties into what we were talking about last week, where we're like, okay, like, are we using old mental models to judge this, but actually, like, there's like different first principles there? Because obviously people were like, oh God, the US, we're bombing somebody, regime change, this is going to end in disaster. But it's just like, well, what if we actually will be, what if we actually would be greeted as liberators, And I also thought it was interesting when Tom pointed out in the Discord that, like, his boyfriend is Iraqi, and their family has, like, he said their family has like a portrait of George W. Bush in their house.
Yeah, I don't
like,
know what that
really
means,
interesting.
like, greeted as liberators, but I can tell you for sure that the U.S. is a friend to Iran, in the sense that, like, a friend in general, because Iranians love Americans. Like, they're obsessed with them, right? The people. But also, it's like the enemy of your enemy is your very close ally and your friend. And so if you can apply enough pressure to allow people to rise up, yeah, I guess you'd call that a liberator. You'd call that.
How would you feel about the friend of your enemy? Because I don't feel like Iranians love Israel, and the U.S. is aligned with Israel.
I don't get that sentiment. I think that they don't have any problem with Israelis. I think that I think Jews lived very peacefully in Iran before the revolution.
This I agree with. First of all, what I'm saying is distinctly separate from saying that they don't like
The state of
Israeli
Israel?
people. I don't think they don't even dislike Jews.
Well, I don't think-
there's a lot of Jewish Persians, which are totally
Right.
fine too. It's not
All
even
had to
against the
leave.
religion. It's not against the people. It's against the government.
Yeah, well, I don't think anybody. I don't know many countries or peoples around the world that are happy with the Israeli government.
The U.S. seems to love it.
And no, the U.S. has shifted.
The U.S.
The US
is
has
like
finally shifted.
Yeah, I would say it's
Dude,
like 50-50 at this point.
But we've
the
kind of been
sentiment-
like we've kind of been like brainwashed in a way to like be like, oh yeah, Israeli government is good and
Yeah, we were
aligned
super
with us.
brainwashed.
Oh, for sure.
We're
to-
super brainwashed.
for
But
sure,
have
to
you
a
guys
degree.
watched the tide shift online over the last?
It's
2
almost like
weeks?
shifting like too much now.
It has gone 180.
Yeah, I think we've like overcorrected now.
Yeah, that's
a
how it
little bit.
always works.
Yeah, it is how it always works.
But because
sure.
it starts with the awakening, the knowledge of like maybe what I thought is not what I.
Yeah, it's like
holy
guy
shit.
who realizes first conspiracy
Yeah.
is like true, and then he just goes off the deep end.
Yeah, but the sentiment toward the Israeli government has definitely shifted.
Has anyone read or learned anything about what regime change would be? So, okay, you murf Khomeini, but then you have the Revolutionary Guard, right? And if you take out those two things, is that essentially the state is like it'll allow for regime change. Like what needs to happen for this to happen?
So the son of the Shah, Reza, basically has now like officially started the movement.
He's saying rise up.
He said rise up, but he's also like call my office. He put out the word to all the Iranian regime and was like, first of all of you will have to go through due process. We're coming for you. He said to people that have been on the fence, the door's open for you to join. He set up security. He set up military. He set up all these things to basically like get moving. Like he made a video 2 days ago, yesterday.
He set up military.
Yeah, I didn't dig in. I'm
Like
like
a militia,
doing
I
9,000
assume?
things, but like some sort of formalization of movement is happening. I don't know if that means that the door is open to the Revolutionary Guard. I don't think it is, but again, I don't know. I have to ask. One of those things to ask my dad. He knows all this stuff.
Pahlavi's awesome. I'm a huge fan.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know a lot about him. I think he's the right person to come in across all the options that are available to help with the transition.
And again, my perspective is from like a U.S. citizen. So,
Is Reza in the U.S.? Is he in Washington D.C.?
Yeah, he's been living here for a long time.
So this is where his like HQ is.
I guess, yeah.
So he's gonna go back.
I guess temporarily or forever, or I don't know. I think a lot of I could.
That'd be
see.
such a sick thing to do. Just go back and transition your country into democracy, and then that's your legacy.
Except you get
forever.
caught at the
I mean, it's
airport and
pretty
put in jail.
Oh. Well, no, you would wait. You would wait till it's safe to go back, obviously. But assuming it's safe, that would be a cool thing.
I got a passport alert on him.
Yeah, he was just a little boy when he had to leave. They had to flee. So yeah,
I smell a movie.
Yeah.
All right, you guys want to talk about our socialist savior in New York next?
Yes.
Zoran
So he Zoran Mamdani.
Mamdani.
He's what did you say earlier? I don't know if we were still on air, but he's a Ugandan.
He's a Indian American.
Ugandan Muslim American.
He's a so he's American,
Been
from
a citizen
Uganda.
for like 6-7 years, I think.
From Uganda. Father is both parents are Indian. One is
Columbia professor.
Muslim, the other is Hindu, and from India.
He's 33.
33, super young, youngest ever, right?
I'd imagine so.
Oh my God, the racism toward him on Twitter is so loud.
What do you
People are
need
so
racism for
openly
with his
racist.
economic
It's point of
ideas?
the ideology.
So many racist people on Twitter.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
I'm wondering what they were calling him. Like African,
Brown,
Indian,
Muslim,
like which,
that I don't want.
which vector were they
Socialist.
attacking?
Yeah. I think the most viral tweet I saw is like, man standing. I don't think we should have a Indian Muslim socialist running New York City.
But they're cool with Eric Adams.
I mean, they're cool with a lot of things.
So anyway, it sounds like
Making Eric Adams look good, which is saying a lot because Eric Adams is fucking terrible.
So he won the Democratic primary essentially for the mayor office.
He beat Andrew. I'm not a pervert. I'm just Italian. Cuomo.
Cuomo, yeah.
So Cuomo served in that office before, right?
Ex-governor.
Yeah.
So Cuomo served in the office of a governor, during
Those big
COVID.
people.
Killed a lot of old people.
So you would think that he would have the leg up.
You would
right?
think.
You would
One
think.
would think.
I mean, I would put the
The
money
tides
on him.
they are a turning.
Okay.
But
tides
then
there are
I
turning.
think
Oh, we have a Parisian in the chat. Pastore.
oh yeah, sorry. I meant to reply
Pastore.
back to you. Hang in for this one. I want to hear what you
Let's
think.
go, Mamdani.
Yeah, hang
You
in.
want us to have your socialism, huh?
Well, he's European, so we get
Yeah.
it.
I guess
We'll let that
get
slide.
better? Yeah,
We love our socialist European friends here.
we do.
All right. Someone else said Mamdani's going to turn all of our Timberlands into Crocs.
I'm like for that change. I'm a big Crocs guy. I don't own any, but I'm like for them.
I don't know. I think Timberlands can be very comfortable.
I'm
like-
Timberland Croc agnostic.
Okay.
I have no dog.
You
in
got
this
no
fight.
dog. in the
Can
fight.
you put
Okay.
Timberlands into sport mode?
That's a good point. Good point. And no flare. You can't add flare to your
Steel toe.
Timberlands.
They're called gibbets.
Gibbets. Sorry. All right, so we got Mamdani, Democratic primary winner, and then we have Eric Adams, the incumbent. I imagine they're going to face off here in a couple weeks.
Mamdani's a huge favorite right now.
Huge favorite. Like, it looks like he's going to become
I
mayor.
actually think Eric Adams is a huge. Last I looked at Eric Adams on Polymarket, he was like 16%, which has got to
there
be like a
value there?
screaming buy.
There's value.
I don't know what it is now. It's got to be higher.
Is there a possibility for Cuomo to come back into the general election as independent?
No, he's dead.
He's dead. Okay.
No, the guy is. I don't know why that guy's still here.
What happened to Cuomo that got him out of the
Sexual
Sexual
improprieties. No, that was before. Then he got back into the race.
Well,
as
hold
one
on.
does.
Like, I feel like all of my politicians have those. So what happened?
He just ran a weird, soulless campaign. Had like Bill Clinton record like some audio tape for him.
Well, this guy's been crushing his campaign. The Mamdani.
Oh yeah, like
Mom
There
Don.
you go.
Mom
the
Don.
mom dom. No, the mom dom's like, he's like a TikTok legend. Like he is like
His mom's a
walking.
filmmaker,
He's
apparently.
walking on foot across Manhattan, recording it.
He's doing
Like
marathons.
interaction. He's like doing all the handshakes with people and everything.
Oh my God, is he actually maneuvering? Like, is he handling all the handshakes with different culture groups?
Oh yeah, he even
That's-
speaks in different accents. He's got everything covered. Like he's
That's
just,
incredible.
Yeah.
he's got it all down. And then Cuomo is just like old creepy white dude gets older creepier white dude to him.
More paisan.
Yeah.
And then that's
More
like,
sexual impropriety.
Yeah, it was just like
Yeah, come on, man.
just
of the-
Italian.
it's obvious why he's gonna man of the people, tax the rich. New York is a tough city to live in. Everyone's poor, no matter how rich they are. Makes sense. It's going to be the next San
Can we give
Francisco.
the highlights of his like proposed economic
Please.
policies? I think
Defund the
I know.
police.
Oh yeah, so one is actually defunding the police,
Yep,
right? That's
love
not an
that.
overstatement.
love that. Fuck the police.
That's not an overstatement. He's
He has stated
That's a bit of an
that it's
oversimplification,
overstatement.
but he was.
But if you look back at his old tweets, he rode.
He's
the
not
wave
mad
of
about it.
He rode the wave.
He's not
Now
mad
it's
about
not
it.
popular, so he's saying that's not what I meant.
okay. So he's just saying like
Politician.
That was sarcasm.
we're not gonna give them loads of money to over police.
Yeah, we're gonna make sure that all they do is police and only go after the most violent criminals.
Okay,
That's his perspective.
I'm guessing pro sanctuary city.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's immigration.
Immigration, like if you're an illegal immigrant, come here, you'll be safe. We'll try to protect you from ICE.
$65 million a year for transgender surgeries.
Oh, okay. right.
Free buses.
Oh yeah, free buses. I saw that.
No rent increases on
So this
the
is
specific category of housing.
Okay.
so this is a form of rent control.
My
Yeah.
favorite one is he wants to create government grocery stores. I think 5 of them, 1 in each borough, to bring down prices.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, government grocery stores, freeze rents, make public transportation free, and obviously swiftly tax the rich.
It's a very okay. So there's like a lot of ways to tackle this. Like at a high level, it's very like, LOL. Like, oh, let's just make prices going up illegal.
It's just
Why didn't we
it's
think of
just
that?
the classic thing we've
Well, hold
looked
on,
at a lot.
like-
It's just like capitalism is the devil, and this is
But I think
Yes,
You know-
but I think we can dive deeper.
Yeah.
in the way that Thomas Sowell would approach it would be to explain why some of these socialist policies will not end up in the conclusion
Correct.
that he believes.
But do we want to go there? Because I feel like we've kind of
Like,
done.
do you think that our audience already knows that and that's going to feel pedantic?
Well, we
I
have
think
some
it's
new
better
listeners
to just
today.
Tell me what I might know, might not know.
we have
Like,
some new listeners today that are coming in
Because I
just
actually
for
think
Mamdani only.
I actually think it's important to discuss why these policies.
I think it's important to acknowledge why people vote for the guy first.
Okay, good.
Yeah, because
Right.
it's very emotional.
Well, okay. Actually, I saved a quote from Marty's favorite person, Peter Thiel.
Okay, I was going to bring this up too. This was my
Oh, Dick,
contribution to.
Did you already have it?
Yeah, but
Did you have it
I mean,
ready to go?
I remember what he roughly says, but I don't have the quote.
No, it's prescient and accurate. This is from 2020 in a Facebook email. Nick, I would certainly not suggest our policy should be to embrace millennial attitudes unreflectively. I would be the last person to advocate for socialism. But when 70% of millennials say they are pro-socialist, we need to do better than simply dismiss them by saying that they are stupid or entitled or brainwashed. We should try and understand why. And from the perspective of a broken generational compact, there seems to be a pretty straightforward answer to me, namely that when one has too much student debt or if housing is too unaffordable, then one will have negative capital for a long time and find it very hard to start accumulating capital in the form of real estate. And if one has no stake in the capitalist system, then one may well turn against it.
That last part I think is the most important part.
Dude, that's a very prescient
That's
way.
that's what's happening here.
Yeah,
It's not that people are fucking stupid.
right. That's
Like,
like an incredibly
sure, some
prescient
people are
way to
stupid.
approach this whole conversation.
And
There's a problem here.
yeah, and we've seen two different versions of this. We've taught like financial nihilism, right? Like acknowledgement that I can't get ahead, so I'm going to bet on 0-day options, buy options on Robinhood. I'm gonna gamble on DraftKings
and pet coins.
It's like
and pet
that's
coins.
like right wing nihilism. And
Right,
this is
that's
like
right wing,
left-wing
and then this is the version of like the left wing, which is like, well, then fuck the whole system, because I have no way of getting ahead, and because I am so behind, then I'm disassociating from the system that we have too.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of ironic that this is going to happen in literally the epicenter of capitalism, like one of the biggest symbols of capitalism, New York City, the symbol of the world.
Well, this happened in San Francisco, which is the beacon of capitalism as well. The most innovative.
Innovation, yeah.
But like San
cities
Francisco is
in
always
the
like a little bit
world.
weird, you know?
Yeah,
but
San
it
Francisco's
is
always
the
been-
People
most
would have been like,
innovative,
San Francisco, it's a little weird.
GDP producing, most innovative cities in the world that run the country. All venture capital flows through them. All innovation is sprouted through them. It's San Francisco, #1 by far, and then New York. And it's also the financial capital of the world. It's extremely ironic.
Mm-hmm.
But you learn the hard way. And that's what like Freeberg's point, right?
Well-
what was his tweet?
His tweet was like, Mamdani needs to win.
I have
so
it here.
that New York can learn.
Yeah, I mean,
pull it
I
up.
probably don't want to read the whole thing.
Is it
Here,
long?
share your screen.
Yeah, we can share it up on the screen. While people are reading that, I'll read the last part. But the truth is, more government may not be the answer when too much government, like indiscriminate federal student loans, regardless of cost or quality of degree or institution, may have gotten them to this moment. A gentle reminder, though, that an articulate ignoramus isn't more correct than his less charismatic / authentic political rival. Facts, data, truth still stand above theory, innuendo, and bullshit. Socialism won't work. If we have to relearn that lesson the hard way, let's do it fast and elect Mamdani. So he's basically saying, we'll use it as a case study.
Sure.
Like kind of what you were saying last episode.
Plays so nicely into the last episode.
Yes, it does.
Like all of our politicians now are just like actors. They're like social media celebrities, and Mamdani is the same thing, right? He's like a Disney rapper. He's fucking 30. You guys know? Can you imagine think about the most intelligent, eloquent 33-year-old you know,
I can
and
just
then
think
imagine him just like running for mayor of New
I
York
can
with
think
no
of
political
myself-
experience.
Myself at 33 was just
If I was I think I'm like a relatively smart dude. Like if I was running for mayor of New York now, I feel like I'd be a fucking idiot. I don't know what
Yeah.
the hell I would be doing. Never mind,
but
33.
at 33, yeah.
33. So that's ridiculous. But like again, like this is the problem with like modern government is it like now optimizes basically for like social media reach. That's why everybody in Congress just tries to dunk on people. They try to get like clips on TikTok. And Mamdani's like he's like a TikTok guy. He's like a TikTok Disney Nepo baby guy. Right. So
You
he
keep
fits
mentioning this Disney thing. Was this real? He was like actually on Disney?
yeah, kind of.
I mean, I know nothing about him. So
like
I,
a young kid star.
Yeah,
or
some
like
like rap thing or something.
okay,
you
so
know?
he's obviously comfortable in front of a camera and performing. And
Yeah. And like he called himself like I think his quote was like, "This is what it's like when Nepo baby meets like hard work or something."
Why is he also is like generationally wealthy, like the family, or
I mean,
unknown?
okay, so I mean, his dad's a Columbia professor. His mom is like a well-known filmmaker. He grew up like he's not mega rich, but like when he went to like a $65,000 a year public school, not public school, but school as like a kid. So like he's not poor, right? He fits into this sort of
$5,000 a year.
That's
Is
rich.
super rich.
yeah, that's rich.
yeah, it's pretty rich. I mean,
That's most people's income.
okay, like you guys familiar with this concept of like luxury beliefs?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he fits into like the luxury beliefs thing. Like somebody shared like a video from like his like victory party, and it was just like all like annoying white like liberal people. Like the whole thing was just like
I saw that. I saw that right before we
it
started.
was just like all like annoying white people I went to like
I
Ivy
can't
League
tell
school
that
with.
they were annoying, but they were all.
No, they're all annoying.
Wait,
Trust
what are
me,
you
they're all
doing?
super annoying.
I don't understand what
Super
you mean.
annoying. They're
You know the.
they're people who are like just wealthy enough to not be affected by any of the dumb fucking policy
But
they
they're the
advocate
most
for
him.
and they get to like signal virtue with it.
Yeah.
Do you remember? This was probably when Trump was elected, but they showed this group of like white people partying in like Georgia or something, and there was like this girl with the big cheeks, but she was hot. And there was a bunch of like hot white people, and like I think
it
it's
was on a magazine cover?
yes. It's on
Oh,
New
the
Yorker.
girl with the was it the
Buccal
the
fat or
buccal
something?
yeah, that girl. She just went mega viral.
Yeah, but I'm literally just thinking this is the exact same thing, but on the other side. No.
No, it's not the exact same thing because those people's beliefs are coherent. They're like, I'm white, I'm rich, I like being white and rich. These policies further me being white and rich. And so it's like, okay, there's a coherence to it. Whereas this policy is just like, all of this policy makes me look good, but hurts all of the poor people. But I don't care because I get to look good. There's like a virtue in like the cold hard honesty.
But this is the thing that I keep saying that I don't think people believe. They don't believe, and most people don't understand that it hurts the poor people. They genuinely
Socialism.
believe that it helps the poor people.
Hold on. You're saying that socialism hurts poor people.
That's
yes,
what
of
Steven
course
is
it hurts
saying.
poor people.
And
No,
I'm
no.
saying the people that vote for this don't vote for this thinking it actually hurts and doesn't work.
Well, I think that's
they
why-
genuinely believes that
that's
this
why
is
I
the
think they
thing.
genuinely do it to just feel good.
No, I think we need to talk about
themselves.
I
this.
think they primarily do it to feel good.
Yes.
I think that's like a huge component of it is identity, is a huge driving force for people.
I'm a good person.
But I'm a good person has to be placed on top of a foundation of a fact. We think that people are acting emotionally. They are acting as factually and logically as they possibly can. They believe that this belief is standing upon the foundation of I'm doing something good for other people that's going to logically work, and that the rich are the problem. Capitalism is the devil. This system is broken. We need to flip it in reverse. And this helps the people that I care about, that I'm signaling and virtue signaling for, feel better, live better, access better groceries, ride the bus for free, and they don't believe that it's going to not work and fall apart.
Okay, so
I disagree so strongly.
I know-
think this.
Guarantee you this
I
is-
disagree so strongly. My initial comment I led into this conversation with Stance. I think there's two main groups of people in this cohort. There's luxury belief, virtue signaling people who just want to look good and they won't be affected, and there are people who are just like, fuck it, everything's so fucked. I don't care. I'll just do this. I think there are very few
No,
people in the
you're
middle who
discounting that
genuinely
there are
believe.
really smart people that actually look at this
And
say,
some,
"This is going
I
to work."
assume,
Dude,
are smart people who believe this. But it
That's
is
good
a
line.
minority.
That's
It's a
good line.
distinct minority.
No, they're actually smart people.
I
Yes,
agree
there.
with you.
Of course, I could. I have.
majority.
No. I have listened to like 2-hour lectures from like socialists who are very smart, and I listen to them, and I'm like, this is like an intelligent.
They're getting to a conclusion that you disagree with. That
Yes.
I also, excuse me.
But I can
also
read it. But that is not how 99% of the voter block
It is.
works. No, it is not.
no, but at least aspirationally, that's how they're like coming to decisions. So, like, what we should do is then describe the ways in which you think that the policy doesn't work, and like describe that with facts and logic, so that they can understand maybe why it doesn't.
Yeah,
work.
so I mean, the simplest one, and I think Armand, this is the way they're rationally thinking about this is if you cap my rent, then I pay less rent.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right? First order consequence.
Everything is first order.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
The entire way of viewing the system is that capitalism on its first order effects is negative,
Okay. So
and socialism
so
is
if you
positive.
if you cap rent, that's the first order consequence. You pay less
And
rent.
I concede for 2 or 3 years, that is correct.
But what's the second order and third order consequence?
The second order effect is you have a landowner who cannot make the return on investment he needs, cannot pull the capital, he cannot make the capital improvements in the building you live in, whether that's fixing the leaky ceiling or just doing general improvements to the property over time. But then most importantly, you disincentivize investment. So The second order consequence is the existing property
what
owner.
happens when you disincentivize
So then
investment?
third order consequence is no new money will enter in it, and you
Correct.
basically have like this dearth of capital coming in, of people rehabbing the properties, improving them, making life generally better in that neighborhood. And I'm not just talking about the property itself. I'm talking about store owners wanting to come into that area and sell their goods in there and having like a good neighborhood. You know, developers, while they may seem evil, they kind of make life happen in neighborhoods and in cities. They take the risk, they put in the investment, they hope to gain reward through rent, through, you know, store owners or tenants, and it typically matches whatever the market rates are, and that produces like a good neighborhood. But it goes the other way when you see capital leave.
So Armand and I lived in San Francisco where they had rent control, and I can like explain this in ELI 5 way where we had rent control there. The people that were under rent control never moved. The renters never moved. So they were there for 25 years
Generations.
on like $500 rent. So the landlord was never putting money in, just as Nick describes, because they're like, I'm not making any money here. Why would I like make this building better? Just live in it. Okay.
Right.
But then more importantly, like what you said, I just want to explain it like to 5-year-olds, is that like no new buildings went up because investors realized that you can't make any money renting out to a rent controlled property. So everybody was in a scarce living environment, thus making rent exorbitantly expensive. San Francisco was the most expensive city to rent in the United States because it had rent control.
And supply went down, right? Demand stayed the same,
Yes.
and it became exorbitantly expensive.
Yeah. The way to pitch this to lefties is to be like, one of the things that's really shitty about tariffs and the way Trump implements tariffs is that you get to like bless like a particular group of people who are on the inside, and they get a really good deal, and then the larger market gets fucked.
hosed, yeah.
Like you get a carve out for you're in what are you logging?
Yeah,
you're
you're
logging.
already in.
Oh,
You're
you're
already in.
logging maple trees. That sounds like a protected industry. We'll just remove that tariff, but everybody else gets fucked. And like it's the same thing with rent. Like if you are blessed into the apartment where your rent never gets raised, then you're good. But then the larger populace suffers because like the entire supply of housing just goes to hell.
All right, so Mr. Tyrone in the chat says rent control is suicidal, but if that's left out, then the rest I like. So he's basically saying like I agree.
Take another
this
topic.
part. So let's
Mr. Tyrone,
free
wait,
bus routes.
wait, hold up. Let's
Take,
let's go, Mr. Tyrone. You like the government grocery stores?
Let's talk
With
about
the
government
government
grocery
grocery
stores next. I like this.
so
one.
what's the proposal? Let's try to understand what the fact
He wants
is.
to create, I believe, one test run government. This has been sensationalized a little bit, but like he wants to go one government grocery store in each borough. I think
Okay.
is the proposal.
And is it the ideal to sell it at cost essentially?
He's
Like, no
basically
profit?
saying like, okay, there's going to be no rents, no taxes, and the entire thing is going to be operated not for profit, and so we're going to get the cost of groceries down.
So at face value,
Which
that
sounds-
sounds pretty solid.
Noble.
Yes.
Sounds noble. This has been
Yeah.
tried before, I would argue.
Also, this is like so small. It's one grocery store. Like this is not. gonna
It
move
starts
the-
as one. Okay, so here's what happens though. I think this issue I think is a little subtle because in Soviet Russia you had like you made like Soviet grocery store, the government grocery stores, and then basically like if you're a competitor, like if you're a bodega down the street, you can't compete with the government grocery store because that guy doesn't have to pay rent or taxes and you do, and you can't compete, so you go out of business. And then what happens is that one government grocery store can't cover all of the demand because all the other places went out of business, so then you have to make more government grocery stores. And then eventually you crowd out all of the private businesses and you're just left with a government business. And then there's no competition, and then like do you go to the
it's a slippery
DMV?
slope
Yeah,
argument?
I mean, do you go to the DMV and have a good experience?
Yeah. I think what you're
No.
trying to say is that eventually, when you lose capitalism, you lose just like everything kind of.
But is there a
Sounds
problem
shitty.
with one place in a 5-mile radius?
One place. No
Yes,
problem.
because one place eventually spreads like a virus and kills every single. But what it won't kill is okay. So
And what if that's by design? Maybe that's by design. Kill the
I mean,
rest
that's
of them
what
and let
people-
the government.
It's
run
funny
grocery
that he
stores run.
said it's like a public option for groceries, because what the criticism of the public option in healthcare is that it is by design that it's like this virus that spreads and kills off all the private stuff, so that then you're only left with the government.
Well, hold on. Like if I was living in New York and there was that one government option and I knew that I could get like slightly cheaper groceries there, but I could go to the like my local one, like even closer, and pay more and wait in less lines, I would still go to my local one, and I like that wouldn't necessarily die. I think it's like having that alternative is like okay.
No, it won't kill all grocery. Like here's what'll happen. Like rich people will just still go to Whole Foods. They'll be like, nah. It's like, okay, we have like Lazy Acres down the street from me. When I go to Lazy Acres and buy a steak, it's like 25% more than the steak at the other grocery store. But like 25% more for a steak for me is like $4. And I'm like, I like the experience there. I know that the steak is like locally sourced. It's like a good vibe. It's closer. And so I just go there because if my grocery bill is $200 versus like $150, it doesn't like matter to me. And so I think wealthy people will continue to make that assessment. And then you'll just get this bifurcation. You'll just have like Whole Foods or whatever the even more premium version of New York Whole Foods is, and then like government run
I don't know.
groceries.
In a place like New York, it's like not even about quality. It's about proximity. It's like what is like most near to your apartment.
Sure, but like in New York, like all the rich apartments are together. Like, and then like ultimately, this ends with you crowd out all of the private businesses, and then you end up with like entirely government controlled grocery store chain, right? And then it ends up just basically being like, okay, so people are probably in the end going to they probably will save money. I will concede this, because like they will charge less for groceries, but the product will suck and everything. But that's not necessarily the problem. The problem is going to be that you're sort of doing this like it's like a wealth transfer, right? These things are going to be running. It's like the post office. It just runs at this giant fucking loss, but people kind of like it, and it delivers a product that people find useful. I think it's just a vehicle for spam, but whatever. But like there are probably better ways of like, why not just give tax breaks to the private businesses running grocery stores? Like if your goal is to like reduce the cost of groceries, give the private businesses like that's like actually like a government intervention that like I can get behind. So, keep the private market.
So let me ask you this. So like
nudge it.
If we were to implement these public grocery stores, they would take public funding naturally, right? They would take like state funding, city funding in order to like pay for rent, in order to pay for cost of goods. So what you're suggesting is instead of spending government funding on that, give it to the existing businesses via tax breaks.
Assuming they would actually like deliver price decreases.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of like using the government to drive economic incentives. I like doing it via private businesses and incentives. I don't like doing it via government takeover of entire things, because the government sucks at everything it does. It just sucks.
Yeah, it's awful.
And then like ultimately like 20 years down the line, you're going to have some like grocery store bureaucracy with like 80% of the freaking people are just like bureaucrats somehow running produce.
Dude, imagine they all have like massive pension funds and like
it's gonna be pension fund, and it's gonna require like more and more and more and more taxpayer dollars to deliver cheap lettuce, because it's gonna be like a college where there's like one professor for 12 administrators like doing DEI stuff, and you're like, wait, why is tuition like $80K a year? Like this is.
I mean,
how it starts.
The tax subsidies are one thing that we've already done. Like we do it, but in a different part of the supply chain, right? We do it with farmers, like corn, for example, and you get everything with corn in it, right? So,
which I also hate.
Yeah, I also hate. But
fucking
like
dumb that we just subsidize.
Aren't we actually amazing how different the mindset is, dude? In the chat right now, we're getting called gay, dumb.
Hold on. Like, I actually want to know who called gay, because I want to give respect. That's like a great insult. Like
no, I got a better one.
Very true.
Throwback to a cool insult.
Y'all so damn dumb. Seethe and Cope, losers. But this is
you're missing the best one.
Are real people.
Wait,
but
Nick, who's the
let's
best
just
one?
assume they're real people, right? like there is such a. Can we simplify this a little bit? Like
Sorry, more chairs than collective leg days hit by these 4 numbskulls. That's my favorite.
numbskull, numbskull.
We're just saying we don't do leg day.
Yeah.
I mean that's correct. I don't do
leg
like
since
that.
college.
Good legs today.
Guilty.
But to
Guilty as
continue,
charged.
can we simplify it a little bit? Is there a problem? And if there is, what is the problem with shaving off the top by taxing the rich and then delivering that back through public goods like free bus rides, healthcare, groceries? I think we got a little bit too in the weeds on grocery stores and locations. And
There
things
is
like that.
no problem
If we
with
can
that
just
in
please-
principle.
Yeah,
There's no problem with
please
that in
discuss
principle.
the idea of
the
taxing
execution of it.
people that make over $1 million, a little bit more, and then driving that down to decrease the disparity between rich and poor.
All right, so 2 points.
Why does that not work?
2 points.
Or does it work?
Yeah, first point is we already do that, right? Like the top 10% pay over 50% of the country's taxes.
What percentage of tax in New
What
York
would you
is
say
paid?
what
by-
would you say when there are many that actually don't pay their fair share?
Yeah, right. Like the
Okay,
folk-
so let's say
There
that
are so many that end up paying
the
like
folks
5% tax.
The folks who own assets, not income, etc.
Correct.
Yeah.
I mean, we have ways to tax like profits off of assets. Like that happens, and that's why the top 10% pay over 50%.
But your point is
of
the
the
main
bill.
from income perspective, we
So-
do
so
tax
we
these
do it now.
people
It's
highly.
worse than that in New York.
Okay, but
in New York,
I agree.
1% pay like 40% of the tax.
Okay, so we
Crazy.
do that already, right? And then that leads to the second point, which is when you take money through this like efficient system and you take it out and then you put it through this like just sickening inefficient system where $1 goes in and maybe like 8 cents actually gets put it to what you want, because there's levels of bureaucracy and complications and process and everyone getting their hand, nonprofits, consultants advising on where the money should go, everyone grabbing their hands in there. And in the nonprofit world, you talk about what percentage goes to programs. If I'm going to donate $100 to you, I need to see your stat. And they'll say like 93% goes to programs. Like a lot of the food shelter ones do that. And that's great, right? You put in $100, you know that 93 cents is going to go towards what you want, putting
Versus
foods in people's mouths.
administrative costs.
7% is going to be administrative costs. Now, we do this already, and we don't have the result we like, which proves the point that when you take the money out and you put it through like a government bureaucratic system, you don't get like 93% going to the program that you want. Maybe it's 10%. And that's the problem.
The inefficiency.
The
It's an
inefficiency.
inefficiency problem.
Right, because like I agree with you. If you're like,
Because it
hey, can I-
sounds good and looks good in principle.
I think it's actually right in
I know where
principle.
it's right in principle.
It's right in
Yeah,
principle.
Yeah.
like,
exactly.
yes, let's take another
course.
0.1% off of everyone making over $2 million a year and provide free.
completely
bus
makes
fare.
sense
Right.
at face value.
Yeah.
But when you look at the second and third order effects, when it comes down to it, how it works out doesn't end up creating positive expected value. What are you doing over there?
Steven's so excited.
Yeah, you got to let something out.
I need to
or-
read these
What's
comments.
that?
Like, give me a moment. I need to
Yeah.
read these comments.
No.
We're getting
Okay, no, I think we're. I
no
think,
leg day?
I
just-
kind of
I think
agree
we're
with these
facing
people
criticism in a
on
po- in a-
some level. They're
No.
just missing the fucking ball.
No, but
like
that's what I'm saying. I think it's very fair criticism. So
Of course it's fair criticism, but these people are like generally like, oh, the problem is like all the capitalists are taking all the fucking money. Actually, the problem is like the Fed, right? The problem is way upstream. The problem is the Fed. They're printing money. They're doing all this fucking shit to obfuscate the money supply, inflating capital assets, all this shit. And then people are like, oh no, they're just, the rich people are taking all the money. And then they think if they just take money from the rich people and feed it through the government, which just takes the money and incinerates it, that the poor people are going to get rich and be better off.
Right.
Even though like we've done like the war on poverty for like 60 fucking years and there's like no reduction in poverty. Like it's like the definition of insanity. It's like, no, if we just give more money to the government, then everything will get better, instead of like, maybe you should dismantle some aspects of the government, right? Like I totally agree that you need to like level the playing field.
Right.
I totally agree.
Right.
The way to level the playing field isn't to give the government more money and more power to further like misuse resources and to further warp economic incentives. You're going to end up in a situation eventually where the 1% of the tax base that funds the entire city, if like 25% of the 1% leaves, the whole city is fucked, and then it collapses upon itself like fucking Gotham.
But I think you can make
And it's over.
I think you make a really good argument that they won't leave.
Okay,
Because
so
for your other argument that they're generally unaffected.
I looked at the data on this, and like I was actually surprised to see that when you tax rich people, they largely actually don't leave.
They don't leave.
Yeah, because to them it's a tax on their zip
Yes,
code.
which
That's why you pay the tax to live in San Diego.
But this is why. But this is why it's toxic. It's logical to tax the rich people because they won't leave, but it just further fuels the problem of the government
Yeah,
taking and
yeah.
incinerating money, and eventually it does come to a head and explode. But like year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, like if Mamdani wins, no rich people are going to leave, and they'll probably take more money in. They probably will, but they will put
It'll
it towards
take years,
programs.
just like it did in San Francisco, and then eventually companies and startups start saying maybe we need to start our companies in Florida.
Well, they don't
and
light every
Texas.
dollar on fire, so you
yeah,
know,
like only like 75% of the
yeah,
dollars on
75%
fire.
of the dollars they light on fire. So with 25 cents of every dollar, they actually put it to a good use, like a free bus system, and that's pretty cool. And people like that. From
But free
Mamdani.
bus systems aren't like okay. So this is similar to like crypto. You know how in crypto they like have like they charge like a tiny amount in like even in the free chain to prevent spam.
Yes.
It's the same thing on the bus. Like when you make the bus completely free, as opposed
Guys,
to like
it's
a quarter.
fucking Econ 101. You know,
Like you
There's
actually
no
create
free lunch.
There's no free lunch. We know that. But like even having like a minimal bus fare does like wonders. Like a tiny
Right,
bus fare
yeah.
it prevents a ton of bus spam.
Yeah.
It provides like it's like 650 million to run like free buses. That's like a lot. It's a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
You know, New York's a wealthy city, but like you a billion here, a billion there. Pretty soon you're talking about
But even more
real
I-
money.
I get what you're saying. Even more importantly than that, even if you charge a quarter, it doesn't even change the cost of running the buses that much. It changes by quarter. But like in
people make different decisions,
yeah, in-
even just having to pay a
in
quarter.
practical world, like you get less malarkey on the bus system.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Less
Even just charging
malarkey.
people a quarter. Thank you.
Men of a certain
Thank
age.
you for putting that in the way that the
Well, dude, I mean, I lived in
kids
San
can-
Francisco. I rode the bus. Like people ride the bus in SF because there's no like public transit really. So you ride the bus, and there's a lot of fucking malarkey on there. It's it's insane.
Is that a safety issue?
I used to take the bus. You had to take the bus in SF
Dude,
before Uber.
I actually started walking because it took about the same amount of time, and SF is pretty small.
Well, SF doesn't have public transportation other than the bus.
Right. So if you're gonna walk like 4 miles, like it might take 15 extra minutes to walk.
Yeah,
And you don't deal with any of the bullshit.
yeah, yeah. We
Um,
used to,
The bullshit was insane.
I mean, look,
I used to get thrown up on.
Dude,
Dude, it was wild.
the dirty 30
What's the dirty 30? What's the dirty 30?
Ran through
it was one of the
Chinatown.
lines. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
ran
yeah.
through Chinatown.
Used to get so fucking wild.
No, the
So
story
wild.
was like this is like an urban legend, but the story was a Chinese woman was trying to come on the Dirty 30 with live chickens,
Okay.
and they're like, "Ma'am, you're not allowed to have live animals on the bus," and she goes,
Oh, he snaps the head off.
oh damn, it's hardcore.
Hey, she's a problem solver. I like her.
Oh shit. I mean, look, I guess to wrap this, like, I don't care if Zoran wins in New York. I'm all for a system. Like, I love this system where every city gets to elect their own little dictator to do anything they want.
Sure, yeah.
As long as you like allow people to flow between cities, I love that shit. Just run every city, just fast run it to the logical extreme of the system you want to implement, and then like live out
"Yeah, we'll see."
the results of that.
So
If people leave, people leave. Good. That means that your system sucks.
I know, but the stakes. Go,
stakes
Nick.
are high.
I don't think the stakes are that high.
No, the
I
stakes
don't
are
think they're that high.
extremely
Why?
high for,
People just move to Florida.
For New
It'll be
York?
fine.
so the stakes are extremely
just
high.
move.
Hold on, the stakes are extremely high for places like San Francisco, LA, New York, because
It's the best
these
city in the world.
Yeah, like people don't want to see them go in the wrong direction. So it's like, and the people that live there don't necessarily ever want to leave. These are, I mean, New Yorkers are New Yorkers for life. I lived in New York for 2 years. Once you get past year 2, you're in for life. So like you have to make a decision after year 2 or year 3. Are you leaving or are you staying? And once you stay, that's your home. And so like no one wants to see their home fall apart. So like yes, maybe they would go through a few years of like, okay, this might work out, and then eventually it starts to get really difficult and fall apart. But you don't want to see a city like New York fall apart. The same way, you know, San Francisco is much more of a boom or bust city, right? Way more than New York. Like New York does boom or bust as well, for sure. It had a difficult time during COVID. But San Francisco goes through these huge boom or bust waves, and it's extremely detrimental to all of humanity when San Francisco
I just
falls
feel like
apart.
Kind of, but like I actually genuinely feel like most of San Francisco would not give a fuck if all the tech bros just left. I actually don't think they would care.
But
I think they
that's-
would be happy.
That
I
San
think they would
Francisco
be
you refer to
happy.
as like what, the natives, like which there's like
That's
I think they would be
5% of
happy.
them.
So who
The
cares?
San
Like those people go
Francisco-
elsewhere to where they're welcome. The people who are in the city get what they want.
That San Francisco
They get
you're
their
referring
city
to
back?
doesn't exist
It
anymore.
doesn't exist. Yeah.
I think the
Doesn't
vast
exist.
majority of San Francisco is just not those people, right?
No, it's the majority.
No, it is the
It's the
majority.
The majority of people is tech bros
Yeah.
in San Francisco.
And the
Yeah.
ancillaries, like
And-
the,
evolved, dude.
Yeah, I don't
it
think
has.
so.
There is the hippie that exists
I don't think
that has
so.
been there for generations.
There's a huge population
Bro,
in San
I
Francisco.
lived there through
Yeah,
the
for like 8
evolution.
years.
I think you
man.
guys are in a bubble.
No.
You know,
you're in a
was
bubble.
In the bubble. Yeah.
I think a
of the
tiny
city.
percentage of these cities is these
No,
people
but
that we
they
like.
lived in the city.
hang
They're not
out
even
with.
talking about Silicon Valley. They're just talking about the city of San Francisco.
Literally, deep pulse.
Okay.
on
Not that
this.
big.
Anyway,
I could be wrong.
It's
I could
does
be
anyone
wrong.
know
I
how
think we
long?
met half that city.
How
It's
long are
7 by
mayor
7.
terms? 4 years?
Mayor terms? I think they're 4.
Okay, so one interesting about this is I firmly believe that the unintended consequences, the second order, third order effects that we talked about will definitely happen, and they will most definitely hurt the people that these policies are intended to help. But it may take 2, 3, maybe 4. What if 4.5, 5 years to actually show? So the kid could go on a hot streak, right? Like by the
He
time he
goes-
implements these
oh, yeah.
policies, he's year 1, year 2 in. You don't see the effects of them,
And the negative ramifications get attributed to the next guy, perhaps.
or the guy before, right? Like the guy before, and then he's on a hot streak, and then in New York, he potentially can get reelected, and then you see it pop up in other cities. So,
Yep.
you know, being so quick to be like, fine, let this case study run. We'll see what happens. Like, I wouldn't be surprised in the first few years where like people are like absolutely just stoked.
Enthralled.
That
Yeah.
proliferation that Steven described on grocery stores, I would really be reluctant to see that happen on like a political presidential election, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing I've been thinking about is, so let's say he's in office, right? And he's 2.5 years in. He's spending because he needs to spend in order to do this, but he's also taxing, and maybe he's keeping up with it. But he realizes, shit, free bus fare, $650 million. Like, we can't actually tax anymore. What is the first like real thing that hits him? Like, oh fuck, is it that when he issues like a municipal bond for the city of New York to do, you know, the grocery store municipal bond, that the interest rate goes off at like 17%? Like, what, or is it something else that
Yeah.
where does the rubber hit the
yeah,
road in
where
these
does
policies,
he-
or does it? Like, what's the first thing he's like?
It's the
fuck.
bonds, but like honestly, the hard truth is like I think they could spend a lot of money before anything ever happens. And this is the problem I have with the current political system is that like in the stock market, everything you do is priced in immediately. Like you make a decision, they look forward like 20 fucking years, they change the price of your stock. When you run for office, doesn't matter. Like everything you do in a 4-year term, like virtually nothing. Like if you intelligently make policy that is like can kicking, you could make the dumbest policy on earth, and by the time you leave, none of it can come to pass. None of the chickens can come to roost, and then all the people are left holding the bag after
Yeah.
because you don't have to live with any of the present value of your future, you know, the future consequences of your decisions.
Sure.
So that's why shit is fucked, and that's why the system just now optimizes for likes and clicks and
Man, President
and vibes and shit.
AOC is looking. I bet you the poly market on
No,
President AOC.
she's
just-
100% winning if Trump fails. Like 100% winning. 100%. Absolutely. People will be all over that shit. We're just gonna go from right populism to left populism, but it's like it's the same thing. It's the same underlying problem, right? It's not like a left-right issue. It's like a capital issue.
Before we move on, for any of you guys listening, like the video, subscribe if you haven't already. We're here every Wednesday. Did you guys want to talk about?
Yeah, I want to switch topic.
Before we switch topic, I just want to say that for the people that are like really engaged in the chat and like offering pretty cool feedback, like feel free to jump in our Discord.
You like
and-
being called gay and moron?
No, I think I don't mind that. I don't mind.
I don't mind at all
I
either.
actually think that's funny. I think the no leg day thing is hilarious.
I take personal offense to that one.
Yeah,
The only one who was offended by the no leg day was Armand.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, people know. People that listen to us know we love like the discourse and the challenge and disagreement. Like that's the whole point.
Right, and I actually like was just scrolling through, and I actually feel like
Yeah.
these were
Good
not
ideas in
bots.
there.
It seemed like real.
No,
banter.
they're not
They're
bots. They're real
obviously-
people.
So, like,
joking.
We're
So I
joking.
think we should get those people into our Discord and like let's further the conversation.
I want Joseph Story, Mr. Tyrone, to report to the Discord.
There
if
is
you go
a
to
really good question in here.
alfalfapod.com, the links are in.
Mr.
in
Mr.
the-
Tyrone's asking good questions.
There is
he's
a really
he's a
good
new
question
he's a
here
new
that's
Discord
just like
member.
A fun alfalfa question is like, what city should have? What's the coolest city to have a subway in that doesn't? I think L.A.
L.A. obviously, I think, right?
Yeah.
LA's public transport is so fucking bad.
It's just so
It's
hard with a
non-existent.
city like SD and LA that are like sprawl based,
Yeah.
where you like can't get to everything. Like,
But if you could,
That's just
the
such an
question.
America problem. China would have like figured that out in like 6 days.
Well, yeah, because they
They'd
would
be
have been
like,
like,
all right, yeah,
okay,
whatever.
this
Get
whole
out of the
stretch of
way.
homes,
What do we have to do?
out
Build
of
a
the way.
slightly larger tunnel? Okay, idiots.
you just lost all of your family's like generations worth because like we need to put a tunnel here.
On this topic though, to close it out, there is something that I think underlies from my perspective. There's so much like chaos on the surface and so much disagreement when it's a discussion about how to take care of people and how to reduce the disparity between rich and poor. And I think one of the fundamental things that people disagree about is their perspective on money and the rich in general. I think that's probably the most emotional topic that is like the underpinning of why people disagree about how to approach socialism versus capitalism. And the socialist idea in general is that the people that are rich don't deserve it. They didn't do anything that I didn't. Nick said something like 25 minutes ago that I thought was so interesting. You were like, the guy, the girl that goes in and develops an apartment complex and takes the risk. You said takes the risk. And that's such an important thing to really like underline and bold and italicize. And most people believe that not most people, a lot of people that are against this accumulation of wealth believe that there was nothing different, nothing that separates me from the person that took that risk. But the reality is that person took some action. The reality is that person took some risk. The reality is that person probably went bankrupt once before they became rich. Or the 9 out of 10 people that attempted to do the same thing that landowner did went bankrupt and then had to go back to work. There's so many people in this country that take risk, that create jobs, that do things for other people, that accumulate and drive value. And I think the primary disagreement is that it's a misunderstanding. It's a complete misunderstanding of what it means to accumulate and provide value. I think a big part of it is that there's so many people that cheat. And that is where I agree with people. It's like, okay, sure, Armand, like there are many people that have taken risk, but what about all the people that don't play the game morally, that don't actually like ethically move the chess pieces on the board and become rich and do shitty things to become rich? What do you have to say to that? And to that, I have to say, we live in a flawed system. We live in a broken society. And yeah, there are a lot of people, all of our politicians, many people in the corporate world are constantly scamming and doing things under the table to become rich. And that is where people have a problem. So what you don't have a problem with so much is like the getting rich part and the taking risk part. It's that the game is rigged. And that's what's uncomfortable to people.
I mostly agree with what you said. 2 points of contention. One is that I largely believe that the game is rigged by the government. And 2 is that we are entering an era where this like, oh, I'm creating jobs thing is going to be like a thing of the past because pretty soon those jobs are going to be like for robots.
Creating jobs is just another way of saying adding value to society, like
Right.
generating.
But I do think
real
that a
value.
lot of what creates value in society for the entirety of society has been anchored in the meat space where there is no other
Yeah.
option but to have humans doing physical tasks. And I think we are entering a new paradigm where suddenly humans aren't going to be doing those tasks. And you can enter a paradigm where like you have people creating new jobs for new robots, and then everything is totally fucked. So I think we are entering kind of like a golden era of the socialist debate, to be honest.
Yeah, I do think the argument that you're making, Armand, it like hits a little better when you don't really sugarcoat it, because like if I was a socialist, someone came to me, but these are value creators and job providers. But I think you have to pitch it a little more directly. Like, listen, they're doing it to make profit. Like in our businesses, we don't provide a job for someone out of like the willingness of our heart. It is to make more profit. It is our judgment that like we're going to take a risk on this person and it's going to help me make more profit. And I actually think that's like the beautiful part of it. It is what like makes things move forward. It's what makes people take risk and do those things. And I feel like the argument hits a little better when you give them the catch. They're like, these people are going to provide jobs. They're going to like make better
Yeah, do you like
apartments.
your AirPods? You know, do you like all the wonderful, beautiful, innovative things that you have in your life? I think a lot of people take that for granted.
Yeah, and
They assume those things will still be there in that system.
Yeah, and I agree. The flaw, our system is totally flawed. The capitalist system is meant to everyone to rise up, but along the way there will be this like stratospheric discrepancy between outcomes.
I wish
And
we
that's
disagreed a little more on this topic. We don't. Like there are other topics we disagree on a lot, but clearly I don't know how we've all landed in this very moderate place on this topic. I mean, you were starting to lean a little bit sort of crazy free market to one point, and I think you still are the most out of all of us. But yeah, it's interesting.
I'm not like a crazy free market guy. Like if you're referencing the discussion last week, that is just sort of like a recognition of the inherent broken nature of the government and a desire to fix that. But I'm not like a huge free market. Like I'm not like a full libertarian. Like I literally think
scored way more libertarian than you.
Yeah, I literally think the government should level the economic playing field. I do. I just think the way that we do it is fucking retarded to offend the people in the audience, but it's just so stupid. It makes no sense. And that part drives me crazy, but I don't have a problem with that in principle. And then I also recognize that we're entering an era where we have to do that or shit's about to get like really fucking wild. And so we have to think about how to do that intelligently. And the way to do that intelligently is not to give the government all of the money and all of the control of the market. That's not how to level the playing field. That's a bad way to do it.
I feel like that's a poignant statement, though. It's like, even though you disagree with government intervention, you recognize that it's a requirement because of the situation at hand. People are now retaliating through their voting mechanisms to like go for somebody like Mamdani, but like where does it go next? And like where does it go next? And where does it go next? And like you have to sort of pander to this. Like you have to.
Well, we live in a society of immediate gratification. One of the problems with our politics is that we want results immediately on the first order on day one. A lot of the things that you guys have mentioned, they require time.
Yeah.
Right? The system has to play out. And people don't also see it on the surface. It's about prosperity in a general sense, driving value and equality for all and opportunity for all. But opportunity for all doesn't look like day one outcomes that are equal for everybody, mandated by the government from the top down. And that feels good to people because it's like, I know exactly what I'm getting. It's a fucking free bus ride.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the opposite. So we might as well just stay on this topic till the end because we're just gonna go. We're gonna go. But like I was thinking of the opposite of rent control, but still provide stable rent. And in the last, I think it's been 8 years that we've had these economic opportunity zones. Not sure if you guys are familiar with it, but they're literally these geographic fences. I think there's like, I don't know, 500 of them plus in the country.
Where you get like incredible tax incentives or benefits.
Right. So like it's a geographic thing on a map. I think governors and mayors are the ones who like submitted them to the government, and then the government approved it. And essentially was like, you come in here, you invest gains from a previous investment, and depending on how long you keep that money invested in the community, we'll give you a tax break. And I forget them exactly, but it's like, I think if it's in there for 5 or 10 years, you get like a 50% tax break on your capital gains. But if you keep it long enough, I think it's 10 or 15 years, you pay no taxes on your eventual gains, you know, from that previous investment. And so this is a perfect example where initially the immediate impact is rich people get tax breaks, and you're like, fuck that. But then over time, and I just pulled up some like stats on what it looks like, and it looks like these economic opportunity zones like flooded a lot of money, particularly in housing and in development. And it says there's been over $100 billion put into areas that needed it, so that were not doing well.
Right, because it was the government's incentive to make those opportunity zones in places that were like derelict and needing money.
Yeah, so I don't know what the San Diego equivalent would be. Maybe like a Barrio Logan.
Yeah.
I think they exist here in San Diego. They spur new real estate investments, mixed use projects, and then they've shown it's only been 8 years, but they've shown that because there's an influx of new supply, and granted, it may be apartment supply, it may be kind of high occupancy supply, but because of the additional supply, like rents have stabilized. What they don't know yet is there this nice side effect where people have higher incomes and generally live better lives. There's not enough data to do that. So, in your example, it's like I get free bus rides, and in this example, it takes 10 years for you to prove the benefits that, hey, we gave these rich people, or not even rich people, we just gave developers who are willing to take risk
Crocs
tax
and they'll
benefits.
be here by 3 o'clock. Like that's the world. People no, but that's the mindset. That's the mindset. My Crocs will be here by 3 o'clock. Is like
Why
I
is
need
everybody
results
dragging
now.
Crocs, man?
You're telling me we could all four be
You
crocked up
guys and your fucking
by
Crocs.
8:30
Oh
p.m.?
my god. No, Nick, your point's intelligent, and this is one of the problems I have with I'm gonna like a generalized thing on the socialist movement is like it's like this sort of like very fucking like mid view of the world. It's like, oh, rich people have the money, so if we tax them more, we get the money and we give it to the government and we do stuff, and people are. That's not how it works. Like, you have the Fed. They already printed all the fucking money. The money is already out there. It's already out there. And then the rich people, they don't earn any money. You can't fucking tax them. The money's already out there. So you have two options. One, you can just forcibly wealth tax them, at which point they can just leave. Two, you can use intelligent like tax incentives as a carrot to get them to take all that money that they're currently just dumping into the Mag 7
And put it at risk.
and put it at risk in something that might benefit society. That to me is a much better solution. Be like, all right, we fucked up. We printed all this money. We made you all really, really rich. We're going to let you keep it, but we're going to like nudge you gently to invest it in a way to like help people
And
out.
here's the thing.
that makes sense.
With incentives.
With
Yeah.
incentives.
Not by force.
Exactly.
And I think
that makes sense to me.
I think that's right. And what's missing is that they could still lose all their money, right? So like,
Yeah. You're still putting
like
capital.
here's two options. You invest it. If you suck, you still lose all your money. But if you win, you can keep more of it. We won't take it back from you because you put it in the area that we want. And it's a good thing to note that these opportunity zones are bipartisan. Like Democrats, Republicans like them because they can choose their own, group. They can help their constituency. They provide money and investment. So everyone likes these type of programs where they can put a vote and say, I want the money to go here, and deals get done. And I hope that's the one part of the big beautiful bill that I actually hope lasts.
So big.
I don't
so
invest in
beautiful,
any
so
opportunity
built.
zones. I haven't. I've seen the deals come across, but I just like that they exist. It seems like a good long-term plan.
Talk about where all the men have gone.
How you feeling? But do you want
It's-
one more
I
topic?
want to
we
talk
got-
about
we
where
got-
all the men have gone.
12 minutes.
Take a deep breath.
Or do you want to just roughly touch on the war on the young, since we're kind of already
Where did
in
you
that?
get this time limit from?
I mean,
Mostly
if we're
my
gonna,
bladder, but
if we're gonna do another thing, I would rather just go to the women. But my bladder also hurts.
I'm a bladder full guy.
Bladderful guy. I think that was a fruitful pod. I think we can wrap it there. I would like to talk about this next week, though.
okay.
I don't think the men are coming back next week, so I think we'll be fine.
It's not time sensitive.
No, it's not time sensitive.
Yeah,
The men are still gone.
There's no
Slash the women still are.
Trump's not to make a treaty between the men and the women between
He might, dude. He's
Yeah.
he's on
He
fire.
negotiates a treaty between the.
Can I just say, like, when you typically take Trump's like transcripts, it just sounds like an idiot rambling, and it doesn't make any sense. But when
you
he
really need the inflection.
when he
need
spoke,
the-
just like genuinely, I think it was in front of the helicopter, and they're like,
Been fighting for so long, they don't know what the fuck they're doing anymore.
and I was like, yeah, I felt like I heard like you actually told me what you think.
Dude, I think that was the most
was-
authentic moment I've ever seen from any president ever. That was incredible.
I mean, he was losing his mind.
And I actually watched his press conference with NATO this morning, and I've never been more impressed with this guy. I'm not even a Trump guy.
Yeah, you
but
are not.
I'm not a Trump
That's
guy.
saying a lot.
But I was like watching it, I was like, dude.
What were you impressed by?
Okay,
Did
so
you just feel he wasn't? There's all this talk on Twitter that
Get a
he's
NATO
just
leader to call him
compromised.
daddy, you
and did you feel like this kind of redeemed him a little bit over these last 2 weeks with the whole Israel-Iran situation?
okay, so the Israel-Iran situation shed light onto the role that he played, at
Yeah.
least in my mind, which was he was the adult in the situation, which he's never really been, in my mind at least.
That's interesting.
Like between Iran and Israel, who have been sort of at odds for decades, Trump was the mediator, right? Like, I think we can agree on that. And that felt weird to me because I'm like, boy, I thought you were the fucking idiot. But he was like the adult. It seemed like.
I think that's a stretch.
Yeah.
I could see where you're coming from. That he actually
where you're
like
coming
he,
from. No, I
he
think
positioned
Eric's-
himself.
I think so.
Nah, I think like in the media,
He's
he-
like, absolutely none of you guys are getting ice cream.
No,
No ice cream for anybody until the bombs stop.
Two children wanting to fucking scrap, and Trump is just
Like
like
Israel dropped some bombs. Like they dropped too many bombs. He's like, I can't believe they dropped so many bombs.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
he goes,
I've never seen such a load.
we made a peace agreement, 12 minutes in your corner, 12 minutes in your corner, no talking. And then they drop a bomb. Well, you said no talking. What are you doing talking? It's like, it seemed like an actual dad. And I was
Yeah.
like, Jesus, dude, he's not as much of an idiot as I thought.
I just think he doesn't really have anything that like actually guides his beliefs.
He wants to
And-
be.
and-
he wants the Nobel Prize.
He ain't
He's
gonna
like,
get it.
What do you
he's
mean
like,
he has nothing that
prize,
guides his
give me-
He has no internal compass. Like he just kind of goes
He likes
with the flow.
awards.
And so
he's like
you know,
Nobel Prize. It's a piece of gold.
7 days ago, he was like, "We bombed the shit out of them. We did it. Like we're the best." And then he's like, "We're gonna mediate." And then he turns and like, "Israel, what the fuck are you
he's a
doing?"
gut guy. He talked about this in his book.
Yeah.
He's a gut guy.
Well, anyway, the gut goes two ways, and I'm not calling this a victory yet. It's one of those
Right.
ancient parable we'll sees.
Okay, how about NATO? Like, he's got NATO defense spending up, and that has been a gripe of Americans.
God,
for
I
a long
thought we were
time.
wrapping this for my
I had
bladder,
this-
and now you
I
guys
had
are talking
this-
about NATO.
I had this moment
Mother
where
of
I
God.
tried to imagine myself though, like I if I'm gonna try to give credit, the credit I would give is I tried to imagine myself standing in front of that helicopter, waiting to catch a ride, answering these questions, just having declared a ceasefire. The two children just started killing each other again and dropping bombs on each other, and I was like,
Dad perspective.
I have no problems. The level of pressure
Yeah, bro.
is insane.
I mean, that's every
And that's
president ever.
one. I know it is. But we also live in the most tumultuous times in memory. So like, it's. I mean, yeah, it's not like direct conflict like World War. I'm sure someone. Oh, Armand, what about Eisenhower?
1940
You know,
was kind of bad.
I know. But my point is like, there's so many things at the same time, and he has so much more information than anyone else had at that same time. It's a lot to manage at once. It's a lot, and the work ethic is admirable. He just does things.
No doubt.
He just does things.
Think about what we do. I'm on my
I
options
think-
chain, diddling on my options chain. What am I doing?
Let's sell these 30 Delta puts.
Yeah. 30 Delta.
We had
I'm for.
Dirty Delta.
I'm mostly against like the results we've seen so far. I wanted to see way more in these first few months. But that said, I'm for action. Like the amount of action is a positive. Like if you just do things, you're gonna get some results.
You can just do things.
Yeah. Anyway.
All right, guys.
So what do you think of the meaning of life?
Fuck you,
Stop
Eric.
it.
I wanted to go. Von Deeper.
Shut up.
All right, we're gonna go to a bar, continue Alfalfa after hours. If you want to join, I'll give you Eric's cell phone number, 619. Yeah, like the video if you haven't already. Subscribe if you want to hang out next week, Wednesday at 5 p.m. PST. We'll be here live again on YouTube. We're on obviously all the other podcast channels. All the links are at alfalfapod.com, including the Discord.
Yes, if anybody who insulted my leg girth would like to come into the Discord and talk to me, that'd be great.
Yeah, that would be
Yeah.
awesome.
First of all, I want to meet you in person. I would love that insult.
If you liked what we said, share it with everyone. If you didn't like what we said, drop it in the comments. Let us know. Sound off. And otherwise, we will see you next week. Thanks, guys.
Peace.
Later.
Peace.